本届大会由钻石级赞助商 Python 软体基金会赞助举行。The event is sponsored by Python Software Foundation at the diamond level. Because we have a PSF, so we have two amazing speech and two amazing speakers. And right now, we have two speakers at the same time on this stage. So let's welcome George Kerr and Seth Larson.
Hello, everyone.
Hello? Hello. Hello. Test. Test. Okay, it works. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PSF Hall. Anyway, so you see us again today. Now this particular session we are having is solely talking about the Python Software Foundation. So we are going to, my name is Georgie, and
My name is Seth Larson.
if you don't know who we are. So we're going to talk about scaling and supporting a community.
So I'm going to start off and talk about the Python Software Foundation kind of as a whole. So the Python Software Foundation has a mission statement. It is to promote, protect, and advance the Python programming language and to support and facilitate the growth of a diverse and international community of Python programmers. So everything that the Python Software Foundation does is in support of this mission. So everything that we talk about is things that we think are really important to fulfill this mission. So talking a little bit about the structure of the PSF, it is a US-based 501c3 nonprofit organization. It has a board of directors that's elected by its members, and it has an executive director named Deb Nicholson. There's also a steering council, which helps support the governance of the technical direction of the Python language. And we also employ a bunch of staff, me included, some full-time and some part-time, 12 total people. So some of the key activities that we do, it's infrastructure, intellectual property management, and community support. For infrastructure, we run the website like python.org, we run the documentation, we run the Python package index, pypi.org. We also run like the community discussion forums, mailing lists, all of the things that when you interact with things on python.org, we run that infrastructure. And so for intellectual property management, it's things like making sure that the trademarks are kept up to date, making sure that the licensing information is clear, copyright, all of the legal stuff behind the scenes that keeps the Python brand going. And then we also do a lot of work to support the community. So that's things like hosting PyCon US, which is the biggest gathering of Pythonistas in the world, and providing educational resources. And we do a lot of things for giving out funding, either for travel or for projects and programs. And we try to support other initiatives within the ecosystem and community by giving out money.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to cover a little bit about what the board is. As you know, we have a total number of 12 seats on the board of directors here. And one of them, the Deb Nicholson, the executive director, also holds one seat there. And you can see actually we have like 5 different specific roles there. Don Wages, who is the chair, and Chris and Tanya, who is the vice chair, and me, I'm holding the treasurer. So all the 5 of us actually combined to make up this committee called the executive committee. And executive committee, actually, all the roles are voted by the rest of the members. So say, for example, every year we will come to a year and we say, okay, now who would like to be the chair this year? So whoever would like to be a chair, they will just volunteer and they will say out their name and the rest of us will just vote. So that's how we actually come up with the title here. Now, what is the PSF board? So it's a governing body that actually oversees the foundation's mission and the finance and strategy. So the 3 main things that we're doing is actually the governance, the mission support, and the advocacy. Governance refer to like we make decisions about the foundation's policy, operations, and finance. So it's basically very similar to main organization that you can see, like large organization. And the mission supports is to ensure that whatever mission that Seth just mentioned just now, we as the Python development and the community will try to fulfill this mission. And advocacy, of course, we want to promote Python language and support all the educational efforts and the projects everywhere around the world and the global growth of the Python usage. Now, what does the board do? We love to do meetings. Who doesn't like meetings? Monthly meetings, 2 hours. Yeah. So during the 2 hours meetings, we talk about lots of things that needs to be discussed. Of course, the executive committee will collect everything that was received from the left, the right, the top, the bottom, and list down a list. Make sure that it fits into the 2 hours, and then we do discussion. We vote. Sometimes vote for grants. Whoever, if that grant is like more than 15,000, the board will have to approve the amount. Then it also handles board committees. So like what I mentioned, the executive committee, but there is also the finance committee, PyCon US committee, and the membership committee. So that's a total of 4 different committees above. And apart from that, we also do strategic planning. So the strategic planning is something that we need to think twice a year to check and to make sure that whatever development in PyCon, the Python Foundation is actually following the mission. So once we will meet in PyCon US, and another one, it's a retreat that lasts for 2 days. Before I actually arrived here, I was in a retreat in Lisbon. It's like 2 full days. We don't really get much time. We wake up at 8, and then we leave at like 6, and then we have dinner, and that's about it. So it's like intensive boot camp training.
And the meetings are really, really great. I mean, just saying it's a meeting is kind of understating it, because I mean it's meetings about making sure that Python like continues to be this incredible community. Like these meetings are really, really impactful.
Yeah.
It's great.
So I can give an example of like the plans that we do. So say for example, maybe we feel that the education system and the projects are insufficient. So we will just talk and bring it up and say, okay, how can we actually improve this that works for the whole world? Like, okay, if it's for regional, how can we support that? So it has to be very high level and not just like, okay, put money and set up a system. No, that doesn't work that way. So it's more like something that we can visualize and make it happen within 5 years. Yeah. So then we have the PSF, who is one thing that we have to be very clear about is that the PSF is responsible for protecting and supporting the Python language and the community. But we do not actually manage the Python language itself. So the development is actually handled by the core developers, and it's governed by the steering council, the 5-person steering council. And here are the 5 of them. So the steering council is actually voted by the group of core developers every year. So to be part of the core developers, maybe Seth, you can explain how you can be a core developer, then they can understand.
Yeah, so to become a core developer, you have to be actively contributing to the Python language, the technical direction to it for quite some time. And then what ends up happening is someone will recommend your name as to become either a triager or a core developer, and then the other core developers will vote on it.
Yep.
And if I don't know if it's a majority or not, but if you're accepted, it usually is most people will say yes or no, and then you become a core developer. And so
Yeah.
then you hold that role and you're able to vote for the steering
Yeah.
council.
Then you'll be able to vote for the steering council. So now you can understand that actually the PSF has actually two groups. You have one group which is the PSF, that governance of the board. So you have the staff, the board, and all of you, the members who actually join. I'm not sure if I know there's a lot of new members today. Also, the PEP group. The PEP group will have the steering council, the core developers, and the C Python developers in residence. Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some of the staff, of which I am one in the bottom corner there. This is all of the lovely people that work either full or part-time as a part of the staff of the Python Software Foundation, and we're basically just trying to help the foundation with fulfilling its mission, whatever our specific roles are. So one of the roles that gets filled is hosting all of the infrastructure of the Python Software Foundation. Like I said, we run pypi.org, the docs, the guides. Recently, we hired a few new people. We have Jacob Coffey and Maria Ashna. They were both hired extremely recently, just in July of 2024. Maria, in particular, is like really helping with the support cases for PyPI, which is really important because when the community has a problem with PyPI, we want to be able to help those people resolve their issue. And I wanted to note that this is 3 people that are running a service that served over 600 petabytes of data in just 1 year. And that is extremely incredible.
A lot.
Yeah, most companies or organizations that are hosting this much data across the internet are not just 3 people. It's usually teams and teams of people. And I also wanted to mention that even though these are only the full-time staff that work on the infrastructure at the PSF, there's also tons of volunteer maintainers and moderators on PyPI that help keep people safe by remediating malware and just working on features in general. Then I wanted to talk about the community. So we have the lovely Marie Norden. She has been working in open source communities for quite a while, and we're really lucky to have her. Her role is basically supporting a much better communication between the foundation, the PSF, and the community. So she runs office hours for both the board and for the grants work group. And she also helps with the PSF blog, which is really great because the staff are doing all of these lovely things, and we want everyone else to know all of these things that we're doing so that you can learn and take part if you'd like. Also running social media, running lots of marketing for conferences, and she's also the admin of the grants and fellows programs. And then, oh, there's me. Hi. We do security also. Thank you. So there's also security, right? So even though we give away all of this code and we run these services and they're completely free to use, like PyPI and Python, it would not be great if they weren't secure for usage, right? And so we have a whole bunch of initiatives about making the Python community more secure and making PyPI more secure. So Mike Fiedler, he's PyPI safety and security engineer. Both of us have been around for about 1.5 years now, and so in that time, Mike helped complete a security audit of PyPI, and there was only a few low issues that were found, and they were all remediated. So that's a really high marks of, even though we have a team of only 3 people, we are running this tip-top shape ship service in PyPI. And Mike also helps with malware response and reporting, so making those processes more efficient, so it's easier to make malware go away from the service, and people are safer. And I've also been establishing our foothold kind of in the security community, things like establishing the PSF as a CV numbering authority so we can manage our own vulnerability records, and things like responding to the EU Cyber Resilience Act, and when the US put out a request for information on open source security, we were able to put together a 10-page document about what we think is important for security in open source and how the US can best help.
By the way, Seth did a really good job for that letter because it was so good that it has been used as a reference by other foundations.
And yeah, so there's also managing resources, right? We have so many resources that we both bring in and also distribute in order to further our mission. So all of these lovely folks are all about growing and managing the PSF's resources towards the mission. So things like keeping the finances in order, talking to sponsors, finding new sponsors, looking through grants, giving out grant approvals, making sure that people know what grants are available, and also managing our fiscal sponsorees program, which is where we can lend some of our staffing time to be able to help projects kind of bootstrap and not have to take care of all the admin work that comes with running an organization that processes money. So just a way to help the ecosystem.
Exactly. So I'm going to cover a little bit about these work groups that maybe most of you don't know that exists. So apart from what the board is above and the PEP group and also the staff, these work groups are the ones that volunteers like you can actually join if you're interested one day. It's okay. There's a total of I need to count for seven active work groups. So these 7 active work groups run by its own and can make their own decisions. So you have the packaging work group that supports the larger efforts in improving, maintaining the packaging ecosystem, which includes like PyPI, the pip, packaging, the Python org, and the setup tools, and also cross-projects efforts. Then you have the grants work group, which is probably the one that you are more familiar with. So whenever you have any projects or PyCon, these are the people who will actually receive the proposal, and they will be the one taking to decide and to support every one of you. So however, there is a little difference is that if the amount actually exceeds 15,000 US dollars, the grants work group will not be able to decide. So then they will actually push the proposal to the board. And that's where part of us will be like checking through like, okay, this is quite a bit of money. So is the reason everything correct? And we will go through all the documentation. So then we'll have the COC work group, the Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct handles a lot of things. So they enforce the PSF Code of Conduct, along with providing guidance and recommendations to the Python community. And it supports the PSF mission of ongoing development of Python-related technology and educational resources. So I'm going to give you an example. Like, for example, someone creates some issues in PyCon US. The Code of Conduct there is actually a Code of Conduct work group in the PyCon US, but there is also the Code of Conduct in the PSF itself. And they will actually review what happened, and they will go through and decide. They actually don't make the decision. So they actually will give advice and recommendation, and it's the PSF, the PyCon work US group who will actually decide to make the decision. So that's how it works. And then you have the trademarks. The trademarks are the one that actually access and actual and propose users of Python trademarks. So if someone copy the Python logo, and it looks like, oh, they're selling some 养生建筑品什么for like growing old ginseng medicine, then you have the Python logo. That's where they will receive that and say like, oh, no, there's nothing related to that. And then we have the diversity and inclusion work group, where I'm leading that group. It's actually we do like a global thing. So we actually try to follow the PSF mission, which is what Seth has mentioned just now, to support and facilitate the growth of diverse and international community of programmers. So sometimes if certain work groups have some issues that we think, it's not very inclusive, we can actually have the right to actually give guidance to say, do you mind include some details here so that people from Taiwan will understand, for example. Then we have the Python job board. This is called a work group too, but actually there's only one person. Huge responsibility. No, actually it was just because there is only the single job board on the website, and we figure out we don't need so many people. So it was Jeff who is actually running this job board, and that's about it. He will just go through whatever jobs that was asked to post on the website. Finally, you have this one called the Fellows Work Group. The Fellows Work Group are the ones who will decide on the decisions. So anyone here know what fellows means? Yes? Yes? Just raise up your hand if you know what fellows means. Okay, I think not many people know. So there is such a kind of recommendation or nomination that as a member in PSF, if you see any one of you in the group, like one of the community members or some organizers or some educators that have been doing a lot for this community for Python, you can actually nominate them. And then these fellows work group people will receive your nomination, and they will check the credits and the credentials to see whether this person that you nominate is actually worth being a fellow. And if yes, then they will send to congratulate this person, and then he will be published on the website. Yep, so it's a kind of like honor for the hard work that they have been put in for the community.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the ways that the PSF supports the community. So as I said, the PSF runs PyCon US, which is quite a large conference for Pythonistas. This is Olivia Salz. She's the program director of PyCon US, so she does a ton to put this together. There was over 3,000 attendees for last year's PyCon, or this year's PyCon, the previous PyCon. And the really, really incredible stat is that 57% of attendees, it was their very first PyCon US. So that's incredible because it means that this community has like so many new people joining and people are experiencing PyCon US for the first time, which is really quite fun. And the map, which the light colors are a little washed out, but the map is showing kind of like all of the different places where PyCon US attendees came from. So one of the things that the PSF does is we award travel grants. So for people that can't attend the PyCon US, we give money if you apply for a travel grant. And so last year we gave $350,000 US to 315 recipients to be able to join. And then I'll talk a little bit about the fiscal sponsorees program. So this is something that the PSF does in order to help lots of other organizations, meetups, projects to bootstrap and not have to figure everything out right away. Because if you're trying to accept money from people, to like have donations, if you want to do that sort of thing, that's a lot of things that you have to figure out right away. You have to figure out how to do taxes and all of that. And so you'll probably recognize a few of these names that are up here, like PyLadies, and there's Pallets, which is the group that does Flask. And there's tons of different meetups that you've probably heard about. And so we help with staffing resources to help them get started, bootstrapped, and not have to figure it all out themselves. And then we also run like a general grants program, which is quite nice because we basically, if you apply for a grant, we give out money if it's in support of our mission. And so we gave out almost $700,000 US in 2023 to 174 groups and over 50 countries. And because this is one of the core things that the PSF does, so definitely send some grant requests in.
But just to let you know, the PSF is not a bank. Just in case you think like, whoa, money.
It has to be in support of the mission.
Yeah. So we are talking about now the members, the different types of members. So we have actually 4 main types of members. The number one is the basic. So anyone who is interested to join the community can sign up to become the basic member. Then you have two other types called the supporting, self-certified, and the fellows that we mentioned just now. So the supporting are the ones who would like to donate to support the community. And you can start from the annual membership of $99 US dollars per year. Or if you feel that you cannot support that, then you can go as low as 25. And it's like a sliding scale where you can just adjust accordingly. Then you have this one that I think a lot of you might be actually qualified, called the self-certified contributing membership. So if you actually support the community, whether by the language or by the community itself, for 5 hours per month, you are actually eligible to become a contributing member. So what's the difference? Let's take a look here in a simpler form where you have a table. So you can see the price-wise, other than supporting a member that has a cost, everything else is free. Now there is also the voting rights, where the free members will not be able to vote. So what are they voting for? They're voting for people like me. So you, at the end of the year, you will have the voting rights to vote for the directors that will be up on the board each year. So if you are supporting and self-certified and fellows, you can vote. And if you are basic, you cannot vote, but you can work and contribute more so that you can become a self-certified. Then finally, the fellows is the one that you will be able to look through on the website, where you can see the whole list of like wonderful people who supported the community. So if you would like to join, this is the 4 ways to sign up. So you can just scan, take a photo, and just go to this website and I'm going to give me that one so I show them 1 minute to scan, yes.
And the fellows one, if you'd like to nominate someone to be a fellow,
Yep.
also something you can.
Yep. So all those who actually sign up today or this year, come to us. This is where you will get the sticker, limited edition, only in PyCon Taiwan and APAC that we are distributing. And I designed that myself. All right, that's about it. Thank you.
We'll put it back on the QR code
Yep.
after that announcement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Show the sticker, get the picture.
Wait. Let us make it cooler for you to take photo. Yeah.
Must be a new member.
Yeah, new members only. Nah, 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 nah.
You can donate for one person, ask them to get a sticker for you. I think it's okay. So thank you for George and the science speech.